You're listening to Talk in the Night with your host, Paranormal Phil. And now, your host.
Good evening, good morning, wherever you may be listening to the show tonight around the world or in the comfort of your own home, like I am. Tonight we have open lines where you, the listeners, can call into the show and ask me a question, tell your story or experiences. We'll open up the phone lines in a moment because I gotta take it off of Do Not Disturb to online. I almost forgot about that. Otherwise, nobody would have been able to call in. But also tonight, I want to share the post here real quick. And like I said, tonight we have open lines where you, the listener, can call in. Hello, Mike. Thank you for tuning into the show. Real quick, before we open up the phone lines, and like I said, I'm going to share the post and everything like that for tonight's show. Before we open up the phone lines, okay, hold on, just want to see something. I want to mention that next week we got some great guests. One guest almost had to cancel on me, but hold on, sorry. It's hard to type and think what I'm going to write at the same time. But almost had to cancel on me because their phone line was getting shut off at their office for a day because of some maintenance work. So we resolved that issue. The guest Monday night will be on the show. She's just going to have to call in to the show via phone. So like I said, I'm just sharing the post. Like I said, pop in the chat on Spreaker. There is a little chat bubble. Pop in the chat, say hi. In a moment I will post the numbers and let you know the call-in numbers. Like I said, the phone lines are going to be open for the 2 hours that I will be on the air tonight. So, well, almost the 2 hours, because I'm going to be talking here for about 10 minutes just to cover some time here real quick. And sorry, I will not be able to see the chat because I am busy with posting stuff about tonight's show. Monday night we have Cheryl M. We're going to be talking about talking about eliminating toxins and feeling good again. Getting the toxins out of our bodies and everything like that keep us unhealthy. Should be an interesting show. And then Tuesday night on Ask Paranormal Phil, I was going to have a guest on the show, but they had to cancel at the last moment. But we will still be talking about aliens and UFOs on the show for the first hour, and then the second hour we're going to open up the chat, because that's a Facebook Live show for you to ask your questions and everything like that. So, just getting the player up on the Talking the Night website, talkingthenight.weebly.com. You can listen to the show there. Right now, okay, so now it's shared. Everything's shared. We are live. The numbers to call into the show tonight are by Skype, if you have Skype. Let me get this out first real quick. I almost forgot. Tuesday night we're going to be talking about aliens and UFOs. Then of course Wednesday night we're going to be talking with Stephanie Osborne as we talk about her work in the shuttle program, both civilian and military, and a tiny bit about the shuttle disasters, but not too much. But we're mostly going to be talking about her book series, Division 1, the urban legend of MIB. What better fitting way to follow up Ask Paranormal Phil with another real life space program thing? So, and speaking of MIB, yeah, so that should be a great show. And then, of course, next Friday is open line. So if you want to call into tonight's show, the phone lines are now open. The numbers to call into the show are by Skype, Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. Phone lines are open now, so feel free to call in, share your stories, experiences, or if you got a question about the paranormal, feel free to ask. Talking Tonight does have a new sponsor, which you will hear the ad in the second commercial break. Also, there is a banner ad at the top of the show's website where you can click on and check out the new sponsor for the show. Also, if you want to sponsor the show, all the information is up on the Talking Tonight website. If you want to sponsor the show, I got great deals for you to sponsor the show. And hopefully I'm not going to lose my voice before the 2 hours is up. But like I said, phone lines are now open. I'm going to get into, while I wait for any calls, I'm going to get into some questions here that people have asked on another site. And if you do have a question and you missed the live show and you want to ask me a question that I can answer it over the either on Tuesday night or next Friday night for open lines, send me a message on either facebook.com/talkingthenight or talkingthenight.weebly.com. Either one, send me a message telling me your stories, experiences, or questions if you happen to miss the live show, and I will answer them there. So let me get to the thing that I was going to talk about. Alright, so question is, and I know a lot of new paranormal investigators, and even some of the older ones still go on this, but does hearing 3 knocks have a certain meaning? And I will tell you right now that no, they don't. Hey, Nicole, thank you for tuning in. I am very listener friendly and everything like that. I welcome all my guests as long as you're not rude. With open lines, please do not be rude, because I will not accept the call. I will hang up on the call. Hey, Jennifer, thank you for tuning in. That's all I ask. And also know things about political stuff and like that. This is not the show. Well, no, I should say, if it's political, it's fine, but just nothing about assassinations or anything like that. That's fine. But anything goes for open lines tonight. If you got a story, experience, or a question, feel free to ask. I'm well versed in the paranormal, but I do have knowledge in other subjects. So going back to the question of hearing 3 knocks, does it have a certain meaning? And no, it doesn't. It could be easily, possibly explained away with. Now, I'm not saying it's not paranormal. I'm just saying that it is. There is another possibility that it could be animals in the wall. It could be the water. Because this is the skeptic side of me. And trust me, I believe wholeheartedly in the paranormal just because I can see and communicate with spirits. But as far as knocks in the wall, it is just that. I mean, it doesn't mean the spirit's going to knock on the wall. If you knock on the wall 3 times and tell the spirit to repeat that, it doesn't mean that it's that. It could be any kind of knock on the wall, could be from, like I said, animals in the wall to water pipes making a knocking sound or something else. But it is not paranormal most of the time. I mean, if it happens more than once in response to it, there is a possibility, but I tend to look for the terrestrial explanation for things unless I know I can see the spirit. But as far as like, let's use this as an example. The Omen House. There have been times, you've probably seen the Ghost Adventures episode, and if you watched last night's Paranormal Witness, but using the Ghost Adventures episode, season 9 episode, the first episode of season 9, where it featured the Omen House, looking at the figurines, the Beetlejuice figurines, they fall on their own. Well, sorry, reading the chat. But they fall on their own. So when they do fall over, a lot of, and I did it the first time going there when I saw them fall, I wanted to check it out and find out, were they unstable? Could you jump up and down on the floor? And of course David showed us that, but jump up and down on the floor to make them fall. They would not fall because of that. We tried tapping on the fish tank. They would not fall. I checked the stability of them standing there just to see how much force it would take to fall over. And a lot of times they do fall over just plunk. But there have been times when they have fallen over and you think they're going to stop there, and then whatever it is, and of course there's no draft because I've already checked that. Like I said, I look for the terrestrial explanation first, but it hit the edge of the thing, and it was far back enough to where it wouldn't fall off, and it got pushed off onto the floor. So there was no explanation there as far as a terrestrial explanation. So like I said, knocks on the wall, most likely there is a terrestrial explanation for it. Now, like I said, phone lines are open if you want to call into the show. Call-in numbers are, and I'm about to... Cold spots, Mike, can be explained away also by drafts. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're paranormal related or spirit related, unless another example that I've experienced, being in a house that had no electricity, 15, 20 of us in a small room, 10 by 12, 105 degrees outside, and it was probably 120 degrees inside. And and of course, when I crossed over, the spirit that I was, after the family had made contact, like I said, 120 degrees in there. And people, as soon as I crossed over that spirit, people felt a cold blast come off of me. And the temperature dropped from about 115, 120 degrees all the way down to about 70 degrees. No windows open, no doors open. It was hot outside. There's no way it's going to drop down to 70 degrees. Especially when it was still 105 degrees outside. No way. And like I said, no electricity. So, yeah, no air conditioner. Those are paranormal. And I'm just typing in the chat the call-in numbers. Okay. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, there's no way to explain that away with a terrestrial explanation. So I'm going to get into more questions. Like I said, the phone lines are open if you want to call into the show, share your stories, experience, uh, everything like that. Or if you don't feel like calling in, feel free to pop in the chat with your stories, experiences, or questions, and I will answer them there and read them. um, 5055. Okay, so numbers are posted in the chat. Let's see. Jennifer says, recently 3 of my students were tragically killed in a car accident. One of my students worked at Walmart. The first time I went to Walmart after his death, I got chills to the bone. And I just whispered, hello, Elijah. Sorry about what happened. Now, there are different kinds of chills and everything like that. There's the one that I explained, and there are the kinds of chills when I've had people tell me their stories, and automatically I get a chill. And just because, and other people have done the same thing when I've told them paranormal experiences that I've had. They get those goosebump chills. Just because they can hear the sincerity in the voice. Hello, Kevin. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Kevin. So, like I said, there are different kinds of chills. So let's get to another question. Like I said, the phone lines are open if you want to call into the show. The call-in numbers are by Skype, Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. So let's get to another question here. And the next question is, was it called when you feel like something is holding you down while you're sleeping? Now, I did a Ask Paranormal Phil episode where I talked about sleep paralysis. And what sleep paralysis is, it has nothing to do with the paranormal. It is actually our bodies trying to keep us safe. When we're in that REM sleep, and we're moving about and everything like that. Sorry, I was reading the chat just to make sure that there was no question there. Our body tightens our muscles so we don't move that much or at all, and we tend to wake up feeling paralyzed. It's that sudden waking, and our muscles tighten. It keeps our body from moving and hurting ourselves. Also, for people that have seen like an old hag or something like that, it's usually I want to say it's usually, since we're waking up from the dream state, and we're half asleep, half awake. So our mind is playing tricks on us. So that's why we might perceive like an old hag sitting on us, or a shadow person in a hat beside our bed. Not saying it couldn't be paranormal, because if you're held down and you're wide awake and you haven't fallen asleep, yeah, there's something paranormal. But if you're being held down while after waking up shortly after a REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, it's just our bodies pretty much tighten our muscles so we do not hurt ourselves. Now, Nicole asks, what if we hear something that wakes you up? Well, of course, anything could wake you up, but if you hear like something that's not there, then you either have a burglar in your house or it could be paranormal. And I'm not talking about sounds. I'm talking about I'm talking more about voices, which if you watched last night's episode of Paranormal Witness, David in that episode talked about hearing voices and stuff like that. So, I mean, let's see. Nicole says, I hear voices that wake me up and everyone is asleep. I don't know what else it is waking me up. Now, I'm going to play this devil's advocate, the skeptic here, real quick. Just because I'm not there, so I don't know. So I can't say I'm not going to open myself to spirit world tonight to do readings. That's another thing. If you call into the show, there is no readings done. If you want a reading done, you have to contact me after the show. But, like I said, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here for a moment and say, could the sounds be coming even at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? Could it be somebody outside in a house next to you that could be talking outside? And like I said, it's just me playing the skeptic, the devil's advocate, just because, like I said, I'm not there. I'm not going to open myself to the spirit world to do a reading, to a remote view, to find out. Now, if nobody is outside and you hearing the voices, then quite possibly. Now, Jennifer said, Nicole, maybe you're sensitive. Well, everybody, like I said, many times on the show and Ask Paranormal Phil, that everybody has this ability to see and communicate. Okay, so 3 miles apart, yeah, then you might have spirit activity making the noise. But unless they're talking really loud, but 3 miles away, I doubt it. So, everybody has this ability to see and communicate with spirits. And if you want a psychic reading and I can't get to it, I do have quite a few psychic mediums scheduled for the show, upcoming shows in February and March. So feel free to call into those shows. Also, if you want a reading from somebody besides me. Yeah, the spirits can get annoying at times, but they are most likely just trying to let you know something. They're trying to give you a sign, if you will. So, like I said, phone lines are open if you want to call. We're going to go to commercial break here in about 5 minutes, so I got time for one more question before the commercial break. So, like I said, phone lines are open if you want to call into the show. Skype Paranormal Phil or by phone at 951-223-5055. Alright, now let's see. I'm going to look. Now, this question, and this would be a better question, and I might save this question for an upcoming guest who is a psychic medium that is going to be on the show in, I believe, March, that has talked to spirits and found out what it's like on the other side, what the spirits perceive. Now, I've never asked them because I don't want to. I don't want to know what's on the other side. I'll find out that when I go to the other side. But she claims to have done this. I'm not saying she's fake or anything like that, but she has talked to the spirits to find out what is on the other side. So what the question is from the site is, do ghosts see in color? And the way, when I reviewed the information that she sent me to be a guest on the show, watching a couple of her videos and everything, I was up late last night contacting guests. I am booked through March for the show. But there is quite a possibility that they see in color. Now, I could ask my friend who had a near-death experience, and he was standing beside his body because I had him on my previous show before I started talking night almost 6 years ago, and he was standing over his body while the EMTs were working on him, and he was able to come back to life. Now, if you do not know what NDEs are, it's near-death experience. And, I mean, he described it as seeing everything that was going on. Now, whether he saw it in color, that's a whole nother thing. But he saw everything that was going on while they were working on him. Okay, now Nicole says, I've done some experiments. In my ITC sessions, they name objects in the correct colors. Now, with those apps, before we go to commercial break, I'm not saying that they could be fake or faked, but I don't put much faith into apps. I don't put much faith into a lot of equipment because I rely on my ability to see and communicate with the spirits. And as strong as I am with that ability, I don't need the equipment. But there are people that are just getting started in the field and rely on them. Now, David Ullman is another person that doesn't care for the apps just because of his ability. Now, my abilities are really strong, so I have that. I really don't need the app. So We are at the half, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more open line phone calls and more questions after this commercial break. We'll be right back. Are you a ghost hunter or want to become one but don't have the equipment? Well, GhostStop.com has all your ghost hunting equipment needs. If you are a beginner, they have beginner ghost hunting kits on sale for $99.95, or for the seasoned ghost hunter that is missing that one piece of equipment, GhostStop.com has a laser grid scope on sale for $18.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talk of the Night website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talking the Night has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingthenight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details.
Do you think you have a haunted or cursed object? Well, Nicole Gaspar does, and in her book Haunted Vessels and Cursed Objects, she talks about her continued paranormal and supernatural ghost encounters, haunted dolls, and other items that are supposed to be haunted or cursed. Pick up your copy today on Amazon.com. To call into the show, Skype Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. And now back to more open line phone calls with your host, Paranormal Phil.
Okay, and we are back. Almost forgot to take the mic off mute, but we are back. And in the chat, Jennifer says, I had a near-death experience when I was 12. That's why I think I'm obsessed with the paranormal. Now, a lot of people get into the paranormal field for different reasons. Of course, I got started in the paranormal field back in the early 90s, back when it was not popular on TV like it is now. And of course, the equipment that is out there nowadays was not there. But like I said, when I first had I first had my first ghostly sighting when I was 5 years old. That's when I knew I could see and communicate with the spirits. And of course, I've said it many times before, kids that young do have, they're not corrupted by the everyday world, so they can see and communicate with spirits. So if you got a kid and they're talking to thin air, and carrying on a conversation, don't dismiss it as just imaginary friend or they're mentally ill or anything like that, because they're not, or most of the time they're not. They're actually communicating with spirits. And then, of course, going up to Canada in my teens to go to the Calgary Stampede. My parents would go up there every year, and most kids would want a toy. Me, I wanted a book about Bigfoot. So I guess you could say my interest in the paranormal field started when I was 5 years old, and has never left me. Even though I have retired from the field, I don't go out and do ghost investigations really anymore. I might help out once in a while with the Omen House, or if somebody needs a cleansing done of their home, I'll do that. But as far as going out and doing investigations, that time is done for me. I've been in the field way too long. Now, I use my experience in the field to do this talk show and help out other people that have experiences that they can't explain. Now, Jennifer asked, do you believe in Bigfoot? I did a show on cryptozoology on Ask Paranormal Phil, and I mentioned about a Bigfoot sighting that I had up in Northern California when I lived up there for a year. I did have a sighting of Bigfoot. And of course, back then in the early 90s, we didn't have camera phones or anything like that, so I couldn't take, and I didn't have a camera with me because I couldn't bring it to the work site out in the middle of the forest. So I couldn't take a picture. And of course, I never went back to okay, so I just wanted to make sure my computer didn't freeze because it kind of paused there for a moment. So I did have a Bigfoot sighting, but I've always been interested in the paranormal. Now, the paranormal does not mean just ghosts and spirits and everything like that. It means cryptozoology, ufology, ESP, psychic phenomenon, a wide range of things in the paranormal field. But what we see mostly on TV is mostly about ghosts. Now, Jennifer asks, why haven't we found a Bigfoot corpse? And that is an interesting question. Now, there are many beliefs that these creatures could be interdimensional. These creatures are well hidden. They could possibly bury their own like we bury our own. There are so many possibilities to why we haven't found one. Now, there was a while back, a few years back, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, where a person in Georgia tried to push off a costume full of meat as a Bigfoot corpse, and of course it was discovered that he was lying, because they found out that he had bought the suit and stuffed it with meat. But like I said, why we haven't found one, like I said, there are possibilities that they could be interdimensional or they could bury their own, because they're well hidden. They're not gonna make themselves known unless you are threatened. Now, Gary Anderson, he was on Ask Paranormal Phil. He came on the broadcast to tell about his Bigfoot story up in Canada, and talking about this creature 8-9 feet tall, kind of chasing them off by throwing a rock at their car and leaving a little dent. And it wasn't a small rock, it was a big rock. So these creatures also could be aggressive. That's why when I had my experience with Bigfoot, I did not want to move. Because when you see something that is 8 to 9 feet tall, maybe even taller to 12 feet, 15 feet, do you really want to see if it's friendly or not? So, yeah. So, as I was talking about earlier about mental illness, as far as people thinking their kids, that they're seeing spirits, that they might be mentally ill. The next question is, can spirits give mental illnesses to the living? And no. That is a whole nother thing. It's not paranormal related. So, yeah, no, it's not going to cause a mental illness. Or I've never come across a case in my 25 years in the field where a spirit has caused mental illness. Now, once again, if you want to call into the show, the phone lines are open. Don't be shy. Phone lines are open. Call-in numbers are 951 223-5055 or by Skype at Paranormal Phil. Let's see. Nicole says, do you think more open we are to seeing things in the paranormal, we can spirit or Bigfoot, etc.? If we're more open to the paranormal, we're going to look a little bit harder. Yes. But does it mean that these, say, Bigfoot or other cryptozoology creatures or UFOs or aliens are going to make themselves known to us? No. It doesn't mean that it means we're going to look more, but it doesn't mean that they're going to make themselves known to us. A lot of people that come across Bigfoot or UFOs just by chance happen to see them. Now, UFOs don't mean that they're extraterrestrial either. Because a lot of people think UFOs, that's got to be alien related. No. UFO is an unidentified flying object. Now, when SpaceX launched that rocket over Southern California a few weeks back, I was at work, and of course I didn't see it until the guest told me about it. And they said, is that a UFO? As to say, is that extraterrestrial causing that? I looked over, I said, no, that's a military rocket. But for them, it was unidentified, and it was a flying object. So there is the explanation for a UFO, but doesn't mean that it is, until we know what it is what it is. It's unidentified. So it wasn't extraterrestrial. So there's all that, which we're going to get into that on Tuesday when we talk about aliens and UFOs. We're going to get into ancient history where aliens might have played a role in like ancient Egypt and other places. And, 'cause, 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 ' Now, there are things up in the sky that you can't explain. If you see lights, there is possibility that they are a plane off in the distance if you're out at night. But I don't think they're going to make themselves known. Now, when I was going to have my guest on Tuesday, Chad Meek, on the show, which I had to reschedule him for March 12th, because the guest that I had scheduled for March 12th had to cancel. And Chad had to cancel for Tuesday. We'll still talk a little bit about his movie and George Van Tassel and Giant Rock. But we'll get into that. Like I said, phone lines are open. Feel free to call into the show. Don't be shy. I promise you I don't bite. And I promise you I'm well versed in the paranormal and other things. So if you do have a question or have a story or experience that you want to share, call into the show. This is your time, the listener's time, to call into the show, because Mondays and Wednesday nights, the guest gets the top for an hour before you can call into the show. This time you get the whole 2 hours, which there ain't 2 hours left. You got an hour and 15 minutes left to call into the show. So if you want to call into the show, feel free to do. The phone lines are open. Skype Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. Let's get to another question. And speaking of UFOs, this person asked about UFOs. Let me find the question. How many genuine UFO sightings are there every day around the world? What is the most common shaped UFO reported in UFO sightings? For example, disc, saucer, triangle, chevron, cross, cigar, etc. Now, a lot of people, let me get to the last part of that question, as far as the shapes. A lot of people either see disc or they see a triangular shaped UFO. Now, once again, does it mean that it is extraterrestrial? No, it doesn't. Because our government has been and I know they're listening, but our government has been in contact, and you call me crazy if you will, but I believe that they've been in contact with extraterrestrials and have used their technology to advance our technology, especially with some of the secret planes that come out of Area 51 and possibly Area 52. There is other things that our government has probably used from alien extraterrestrial technology. You probably heard of the Philadelphia experiment, where a ship basically was transported in time and became invisible, and when it came back into normal view, part of the people were stuck in the hole. There's the Montauk Project. Check out these things, because I believe that our government has this ability to do these things, and I wouldn't put it past them to do it. Now, Area 52, where is that? It's, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it is out in Nevada. Hold on, I have never done much research on Area 52. So, I would not know. Um, okay, it is out at the Tonopah. Um, it's out at the Tonopah Test Range. So that's where Area 52 is. So I want to get a better idea. I believe it is not that far from Area 51. Uh, let's see, I'm looking at the map here. And of course, the map's not going to show me um, exactly where it is. Now there's okay that yeah. See, when I do a Google search for Area 52, it gives me health clinics and fitness center, but that's 52 area. Um, but it's not Area 52. So, like I said, it is out at the Tonopah Test Range. Now, yeah, it is off the charts. Most people have heard of Area 51. Most people have heard of Area 51, unless you live in a cave um, or off the grid and don't know about this, or up in the mountains where you have no contact with human civilization most of the time. So a lot of people do not know about Area 52, but they know a lot about Area 51. Yeah, Area 51 has a lot of armed men. And just because I don't believe that we have alien technology there, we might have in the past, but as far as now, no, we do not have the extraterrestrial stuff there. I believe it's all moved to Area 52, which is, like I said, the Tonopah Test Range. In south, it's 30 miles southeast of Tonopah, Nevada. That's where it is. And like I said, it's most likely not that far from Area 51. Now, there could be possible tunnels going from Area 51 to Area 52. And that stuff could have been moved over to Area 52. But as far as the technology that we have, Area 51 is mostly a test site for our secret planes. And I did have a high security clearance when I was in the military, just because I worked close by nuclear reactors. And no, I do not glow in the dark. But yeah, even with my high security clearance, I wasn't able to know about that stuff. Let's see. Jennifer says, I was obsessed with Area 51 in high school. My aunt and uncle were retired from the CIA. I asked him about it, and he said I would be better off not knowing because it would traumatize me and my life would never be the same. I would have loved to have talked to him about it, because like I said, Um, I I have an interest in the paranormal of all things, and I wouldn't be traumatized. I wouldn't be scared because I work and get rid of the darkest spirits you can imagine, and these spirits or dark entities, demons, whatever you want to call them, are most people would run away from these things. I run towards them and chase them off. So I have no fear. So if the government's listening, let them come. I have no fear. Uh, yes, that was a challenge. Um, but yeah, I would. Okay, Nicole says, Jennifer says he is still alive and you can tell he is a military man. Yeah, I mean, the CIA is going to keep a tight lip on everything. Um, and even our shadow government. They're going to keep a tight lip on everything. And they're not going to let it out. Now, when you hear about Men in Black, alien technology at government facilities, stuff like that, it's usually somebody that's on their deathbed that doesn't have to worry about getting that out there. Yeah, the military, we when we're in the military, we learn discipline. We're very strict and everything like that. So we do have that discipline. We're very strict, and we're taught that in the military. Um, Now Nicole asked about MIBs, and yes, I believe they are real. Of course, my guest on Wednesday night will have a different opinion about it, just because she worked in the space program. But doesn't mean that she had a high enough clearance to know about them. That's the question. We'll ask that question. Um, well, what are they scared about? Letting people know the truth? It could be that they might know something that they don't want to get out there. They might and don't want to cause a panic. Um, and no, the MIBs are not like the movie Men in Black. No. They wear a fedora hat. Check out the videos. And people that have had contact with MIB. Oh, you have to. Well, the president definitely probably knows a little bit, but I don't think he even knows everything. Because there is something higher than our president in our government, a shadow government, that is gonna keep that stuff to themselves. And that's just my opinion. That's my belief. But like I said, if I get a knock at my door and there's MIB agents, screw them. I don't care. The truth is out there. But let's get back into more questions here in a moment. But we're going to take a commercial break here in a second as soon as I load up the commercial break. I almost forgot to do it. In this commercial break, also my new sponsor for the show is his ad is gonna play in this commercial break, so be sure to check it out. We'll be right back after the short commercial break. You are listening to Talk in the Night with Open Line, Friday Night Open Lines. We'll be right back.
There is something in the air. like I have to go nowhere. If someone ever asks me, I can never say where I will be. And people say that someday I will lose my mind. They're always wondering why is a waste of time. I am trying to figure why in my heart I still feel fire. Anything that has been done to fix it, or why it takes so long, why it takes so long, why it takes so long, why it takes so long.
If you like old-time talk shows, then you must tune in to Night Dreams Talk Radio. UFOs to Bigfoot, did we say black-eyed children? You'll find Night Dreams Talk Radio on TuneIn, iHeart, iTunes, and all the major apps. But on TuneIn, they're live 7 to 9 p.m. West Coast time starting in February. With all the major guests, Night Dreams. Do you have an interest in the paranormal? Well, tune in every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific on the Talk in the Night Facebook page for Ask Paranormal Phil. The show is a Facebook Live show where he gets into different topics about the paranormal and answers your questions. That's Ask Paranormal Phil every Tuesday night, only on the Talk in the Night Facebook page.
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
Call into the show, Skype Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. And now back to more open line phone calls with your host, Paranormal Phil.
Okay, and we are back, and we're into the second hour. For the show. Phone lines are open if you want to call into the show. Now, Jennifer asks, what do you mean by shadow government? And do you believe in the Illuminati? Sorry, I got Facebook open, so I heard a ding in my ear, just because people are commenting on something. The shadow government is run by George Soros, the Rockefellers. They're the most powerful men that run our government. They're not in government, but what I mean by shadow government is they have the money to tell world leaders how to run things. And even our president, they can tell him how to do things. Nicole, Lisa, if you are using your phone and listen to Spreaker, let me see if I can log on via my Spreaker account on my phone and tell you exactly how to do it. There should be a little chat bubble. Click on that and you should be able to type, but hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let me go down to live shows, because my show should be live. Well, it is live, I know it is. There's a lot of shows live right now on Spreaker. There we go. Alright, so alright, so you're listening on it. Okay, so if you're hearing me, there is I just shut it down. But if you click, when you click on the show, click on the thing, and right below the picture on the Spreaker app, right above the play button, there's a little chat bubble there. Click on that, and then at the bottom of it, it says leave a message, and you can hit the chat. So that's how you get into the chat and everything like that. Now, if you're listening just through Facebook, I do not know how that works. But if you do have the Spreaker app, search for Talk in the Night, click on live shows, and search for Talk in the Night, click on that, and hit the thing at the bottom. It'll bring up the show, and there is a chat bubble right above the play button, and you can hit enter chat there. If you're on a laptop, there should be a little, or listening on the website and hitting the play on the thing, there's also a little chat bubble there. Let's see, let me go to actually the Talking Night website. Here real quick, just to let you know where that is. But I will get into the question about the shadow government here in a second, a little more. Yeah, there's a, right below where it says open lines, there's a chat bubble on the website, if you're on a computer, of course. So the question was, do I believe in a shadow government and the Illuminati? Yes. I'm not certain about the Illuminati being an actual faction, but the shadow government, yes. Like I said, they are it's run by like George Soros, the Rockefellers, all the high dollar people. Okay, Nicole, thanks. Like I said, phone lines are open. If you have a question, story or experience, even if it's about the shadow government, feel free to call in and share it. Yeah, people who got money. People that got a lot of money that we don't have. So phone lines are open if you want to call in. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you to make your own decision about the shadow government, whether it's real or not, because I can tell you till I'm blue in the face about the shadow government, and you're not going to believe it. Or not, I'm not going to say you're not going to believe it, but some people might not believe it. And it took me time of researching, studying all this stuff to learn all this stuff. Why? Because I have an interest in it. Just like the paranormal, I have an interest in the paranormal. And how I got so well versed in knowledge in the paranormal field is because I took the time to actually study and research. And if you're just going out there to have fun in the paranormal field, you're not learning anything. You're not knowing anything. So take the time to actually learn, to question, to study, research, because that is going to make you better in the field if you're into the field and everything like that. Now, the field is basically a very expensive hobby. Now, if you charge to do paranormal investigations, that's not the way to do it. I mean, there's been times when we've gone to a location and people wanted to pay us. And we basically turned them down. They wanted to pay us $200 for investigating. Now, you might ask, why did we turn down $200? The only time I get paid for doing a ghost hunt is when I'm helping David. But as far as not doing a ghost tour, but actually investigate a private location or business, and they want to pay you, what we did is we turned down that $200. And the reason why we turned down that $200 is because that person could have gave us the $200 and turned around and said that we were doing it just for the money. We were fakes, frauds, stuff like that. They could say all that. So we decided, no, we can't accept the money. And rather than us turning it down completely, what we told the person to do was, if you really want to give it to us, take it to the Children's Hospital in Loma Linda and donate it in our name. Now, whether the person did that or not, I don't know. But we turned down the money. We could not accept the money. Let's see. Mike says, Phil, I was talking with ham operator who was talking in Area 51. He had mic open. You can hear the armed men telling them to go. Now, there are a lot of people that go out to Area 51, and you will get arrested or possibly shot out at Area 51. One of my friends who lives out in Vegas, from KCOR, I'm going to mention her station and everything like that. Just a tiny little plug, not an advertisement, but she takes people out to Area 51, just the border. They don't go into the Area 51. But they just outside of the gate, even outside of the gate, people have been harassed because they get too close to the sign. There is no gates, nothing like that keeps people out. But there are plenty of sensors and cameras all over the place there. So unless you want to get shot, there was a time on Coast to Coast AM when Art Bell talked to a pilot that was flying over Area 51 and lost communication with that pilot. Now, whether they shot down the pilot or had him land and arrested him, I forget how it went, but he was on the air when he was flying over Area 51. I'm sure if you go to the Coast to Coast archives, you can find that show. So, like I said, phone lines are open. If you want to call into the show, don't be shy. Phone lines are open. Skype Paranormal Phil or by phone at 951-223-5055. The show is going to get bigger, and when it does and people do call in, you might not be able to get in. So if you want to call into the show now is the time to do it. Because when the show gets bigger, and I know it will, you might not be able to get into the show. Let's see. Nicole says, I wonder why they are so high on security. They won't let us tour, even go on the property. They must be hiding something they don't want us to see or know about. Well, yeah, of course they are. They're hiding a lot of secret planes. The SR-71 was built there and tested there. The stealth bomber, the B-2 bomber, they were all built and tested there. Secret planes that are still being built to this day are still being built there. So, do you really want somebody coming into... Say you're trying to keep a secret at your home. Let's put it this way. Say you're trying to keep a secret at your home, and you don't want anybody in there to know about it until it's out there where other people know. Would you want people coming into your home and finding out about that secret and telling other people before it has a chance to be out there? I don't think so. So that's why the government hides this stuff to keep that a secret. Because we don't want our enemies. We don't want North Korea. Back then, we didn't want the Russians during the Cold War to know about our secret spy planes, SR-71, stuff like that. So, it's a perfect location to test it. Now, that's why you don't want people going in there and tour. There was a story, I don't know if it's still up on the Talking Tonight website. I'm going to actually look. Yeah, it's still up there on the past stories of the day. If you go to past stories of the day, there's one, you'll see a jetliner and everything like that taking off and stuff like that. That is Janet Airlines. And if you don't know what Janet Airlines is, that is actually the plane that flies the employees from Vegas into Area 51. And of course, they were looking for flight attendants. They mentioned in the story that the only requirement is that you have no contact with the people on the plane to ask them about what really goes on in Area 51. And like I said, because of the high security clearance for testing these secret planes and possibly other stuff, they don't want that out there. We talked enough about Area 51. Let's get into some other things. If you do have a question, like I said, phone lines are open, 951-223-5055, or by Skype at Paranormal Phil. Make sure everything is open. Yeah, my phone lines are open, so feel free to call in to the show, share your stories, experiences, or ask me a question. As you can tell, I am well versed in a lot of topics, not just the paranormal, not just ghost. I am well versed in stuff like the shadow government, Area 51, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptozoology, And why? Because I have taken the time to actually learn and research. Many hours of research. So another question. Let's see. Let's go to this question. Just because it has to kind of do with remote viewing. And for those that have always wanted to know how to close portals or remote view, of course, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it because it doesn't happen overnight. You cannot learn overnight. But I do have a blog that will be coming soon to the Talking Tonight website. I'm opening it up to listeners. If you want to write a blog and everything like that, send it to me. I will post it onto the website. But in the blog, once I do have it up and running, I have to do some things to it before I open up the blog. But I am going to talk about remote viewing. I'm going to talk about psychic experience, how to unlock your third eye, stuff like that. But like I said, I'm not going to get into too much detail on it because if I give you all the details and you do something to where you harm yourself, I don't want to be responsible for that. So that's why, like I said, it takes many years of training to learn this. It don't happen overnight. Like I said, I got people in the chat, but nobody's calling. I got people listening to the show. Nobody's calling. I appreciate the people in the chat. Like I said, I appreciate that. I appreciate those listening. But the phone lines are open. And everything like that. So don't be afraid to call in to the show. Jennifer says, how can you tell if you are a medium? Well, I'm going to explain this, and I'm pretty sure I'll explain it more times than not. So if you're listening live or if you're listening to this show and a rebroadcast of the show, and you got kids, have them tune away, because I do not want to destroy their perception. I don't want to destroy their innocence. But the way I explain it is the Santa Claus effect. And alright, so we got a caller into the show. Let's go to the phone lines. If I can get it to answer. Hello, you're on the air with Talking Tonight and Paranormal Phil. Who's this?
Hi, Phil. This is Nicole. How are you?
Hey, Nicole. How's it going? So, did you have a question or an experience that you wanted to share?
Well, yeah, I have many experiences and with celebrities in the red list one, so I'll share another one.
Okay, so, I mean, did you want to share one particular experience or okay, go ahead.
One is always puzzled me because when I was younger, this is the first time when I started actually hearing them. So I was visiting my dad, lived about like, I don't remember how old I was, but I just remember what happened.
Okay.
Let's see, I'm trying to get to the good part here. So we were all playing cards and watching TV or, like that. And everybody was out in the, and just to go outside. And of course, I decided to stay inside. And suddenly, I hear like this evil laughter.
Okay.
And what the hell was that coming from? I knew I was the only one that's there, and everybody else, outside.
Okay.
Like, so of course, I didn't know what it was at the time, so I just ran out.
Okay. So you were. Okay. So you.
No.
Okay. So you were the only one in the house, correct?
Yes.
And you heard like evil laughter. Now, could it been possibly evil, or could it just been something that sounded?
I just felt something that right too. So.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, it could have been anything, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a darker spirit, and I've explained this. I've explained this, that it could be those prankster type spirits.
Yeah, and what I found out was, of course, it wasn't a dark spirit. It has to be someone that actually killed himself previously.
Okay, so yeah. Now, thank you for your call, Nicole, and everything like that.
Anytime.
So let's go a little bit on that. The medium that I was talking about earlier, where she has had communications with the spirits and everything, she talked about in the video that I watched to research the guest before I said, okay, I want you on the show. She mentioned she had contact with a lady that had committed suicide, and when she died, her spirit was more in a limbo type experience. And I'm not going to get too much into it because I want her to explain when she comes on the show. But for the person calling, I will get to your phone call in a second. Sorry. So give me a call. Give me a moment to everything, because I don't screen my calls or anything like that, so I don't know who it is or anything like that unless you tell me in the chat, but I'm pretty sure I know who it is. So give me a moment. Let me explain this real quick, and then I'll tell you when the phone lines will open right back up. But she experienced that the spirit was in limbo, and when they commit like a murder like Manson or something like that, their spirit is most likely going to be in that limbo. And they're probably going to have that darker side to them. So, yeah. So, caller, if you want to call back into the show, I'll answer the call this time. Sorry, I just don't answer it when I'm trying to talk about something. I'll get into the whole question about the medium, tell you if you're a medium, and everything like that in a second. So if you want to call into the show, actually, I'll tell you what, put that call on hold for a second. We're going to go into the final commercial break here in a second. I keep forgetting to load up the commercial breaks tonight for some reason. So we'll be right back after this commercial break with more of your phone calls and questions and stories. Right after this commercial break, you are listening to Talk in the Night. Like I said, caller, call back after the commercial break. We'll get you on the air. You are listening to Talk in the Night.
Do you want to know how to attract love, money, jobs, success? Well, check out livelifemadeToorder.com. If you go to the products page and mention Talk in the Night, you will get 50% off of your order. That's livelifemadeToorder.com. Be sure to check out the show's website at talkingthenight.weebly.com for some great content such as Story of the Day, This Day in History, and much more. Also, if you missed the show, check out the show's archive page under the radio show tab where you can find all the shows listed. And be sure to sign up for the Talk in the Night newsletter. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talk in the Night has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingthenight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details.
Something I know all too well, and I fear I might have broken a promise I made to myself. Seems I can hang over the edge and keep my feet down on the floor, and I know I can't let you in, 'cause my hands against the door.
To call into the show, Skype Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. And now back to more open line phone calls with your host, Paranormal Phil.
Okay, and we are back with the last segment of the show, the last half. Hey, Lisa, you finally found it. Now remember how you did it. We are back with more of your open line phone calls. If you've got a story, experience, question that you want to say over the air, don't be like I said, don't be shy. People call into Coast to Coast AM, so why not? Don't let me do all the talking. So phone lines are open. You heard the phone lines numbers to call in Paranormal Phil, or by phone at 951-223-5055. Call into the show, share your stories, experiences, or questions. Mike, go ahead and call back in, because I know it was you that called. I do have the phone lines open. And how do we know we are, or how do we find out if we're mediums? Like I was saying, the Santa Claus effect. When we're young, we're told Santa Claus is real. When we're told, okay. Let's get to the caller. You're on the air with Paranormal Phil on Talking the Night. Go ahead.
Hey, Phil, this is Mike. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing good. Thank you, Mike.
Well, the reason I wanted to let you know, what do you know about portals? I had one open here about a few weeks ago, and I'm just curious. My little Shih Tzu puppy woke me up in a dead sleep around 2 o'clock in the morning. And I looked up above the ceiling fan. There was a portal, like a blurry,
Like okay. Now, were you just coming out of sleep, or?
Yeah, I was. My little Shih Tzu puppy was scared shitless. Excuse the French, but he was scared.
Okay. Well, we're on internet radio. We're not bound by the FCC on internet radio, so don't worry.
But anyway, the little guy was scared. He was about 2-year-old. He's 3 now, but this happened about 2 years ago, and he was scared, and he jumped to my thing, barking his head off about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, looked up above the ceiling fan I have out here, and something scared the wits out of him. And I looked up, and there was a portal. I don't know if something was trying to come through or what. And all he lasted about no more than about 4 or 5 minutes.
That's how long it lasted. Now, can you describe? Can give us a little description on what this portal looked like?
It was kind of like a big rings, like, did you ever watch that movie, The Time Tunnel? It's similar to that. Like that series, The Time Tunnel.
Oh, okay.
They go back in time. It looks like something similar to that.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't know if something was trying to come through or what, but it just opened and it faded away about a few minutes later.
Now, I know you, because animals are like children. They're innocent. They don't. Their minds are not corrupted by the everyday world and everything like that, especially when they're puppies. And so the animals have that ability to see the spirits and see stuff like that, whereas a lot of us, it's pushed back into the deep recesses of our subconscious. But I'm wondering if you might have, and I'm just kind of going off of what I'm hearing, because like I said, I'm not doing readings, but what I'm hearing from the spirit world, I do have a channel somewhat open, that you possibly could have been having a out-of-body experience, and that was your version of like the tunnel into the light.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about. There was no light, but it disappeared, just opened up out of the blue about around midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't figure out why was my little Shih Tzu barking his head off. And he looked up, and I looked up, and that's what it was. It was a tunnel. It was kind of blurry, like I said earlier, and it was kind of weird.
Okay. Yeah, because sorry, I keep interrupting you. Sorry about that, but yeah, no, that's quite possibly what it was, and everything like that. But also, as far as portals go, they're usually around places that have a high geomagnetic field, like the Omen House and stuff like that. And the little fissures can open if there's one big vortex portal nearby. Little fissures can open. And what you saw was probably, now I'm being told it was one of those small fissures.
Okay, that's what they're telling you.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're trying to communicate or something. Communicate and tell me something. I don't know.
Well, that's hard to say whether they were or not, because I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna do readings. But yeah, like I said, they're telling me it was a fissure, not actual. Well, not one of the big vortex portals, but it was a fissure.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought it was. I wasn't sure what they call it.
All right, but thank you again for calling in and sharing your experience, Mike.
Yeah, but I am calling it by radio too, so that's how I got in.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll let you go, and we're gonna get some more callers coming into the show, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Something will happen.
Yeah. All right, thank you again, Mike. All right, so yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna do readings, but my connection to the spirit world is open just a tiny bit because I do have quite a few spirits here. Mostly, the one that's giving me messages is my spirit guide, and everything like that. And of course, I do have a guest coming up later in March that is going to be talking how to communicate with your spirit guide and everything like that. We got a lot of great guests coming up. And while I'm thinking of it, before I get into the whole thing of how to tell for a medium, because I keep getting distracted, not in a good way, but with the phone calls, but I will answer that question in a moment. But I want to mention, if you go to talkingthenight.weebly.com, on the radio show tab, scroll down, or go down and click on the Night Talk newsletter and subscribe to the Night Talk newsletter. It's only $2.99 a month. What you get there is stuff that you'll find out upcoming guests before they even are listed on the website. You'll get stories of the day and this day in history for the whole week, rather than might miss one day during the week by not looking at the website. You'll get all that week, from Friday to Friday. I believe I'm going to do it, send out the newsletter on Friday nights. So it'll be from Friday to Friday. You'll get all that. You'll get special offers that guests will offer for just the Night Talk newsletter subscribers. And everything like that. So if you want to subscribe to the Night Talk newsletter, you can find all about that information. Hey Vince, thank you for tuning in. So subscribe to the Night Talk newsletter. Like I said, coming up on the website, we do have a blog coming up pretty soon, as I get it going. Also, I'm working also on a store where you can buy like t-shirts for the show, coffee mugs, stuff like that. I'm working on all that. Because like I said, the show is going to only grow. And tell your friends about the show. Have them tune into the show. Tell everybody, because that word of mouth is the best thing that can happen to my show or anybody's show, is word of mouth. And if you like the show, go to facebook.com/talkingthenight. Leave a review for the show if you like the show. So Jennifer was asking about how do we know if we're a medium, and I'm sorry if I keep skipping the question, but like I said, if you got kids, okay, that's okay, Nicole. Nicole's computer went haywire, so sorry about that. But tell people about the show and everything like that. Thank you, Lisa. but as far before I get distracted anymore, let's get into the whole thing. If you got kids, if you're listening live, whether you listen live or in the rebroadcast of the show, playback and everything like that, have the kids turn away, because this, I don't want to just destroy their perception. So now that, giving you a second to do that. Like I said, when we're young, we're told Santa Claus is real. As we grow older, we're told Santa Claus is not real. And the same thing goes with the spirit world. When we're young, we can see the spirits. And as we grow older, we're told it's just our imagination. It's not real. Even some people have said it's you're mentally disturbed or something like that. But usually it's just an imaginary friend, or it's not real, is what we're told. And that ability gets pushed from the front in our third eye all the way back to our deepest part of our subconscious. And the way once it gets locked in there, it's very difficult for us to unlock that ability. Now, with me, it was reinforced as a kid just because my parents could, or at least my mom could see spirits. And now, was it passed down from generation to generation? No, because I believe everybody has this ability. It's just a matter of finding ways to unlock it. So everybody has the ability to be an empath, well, not really an empath, but a psychic or medium or clairvoyant, clairaudient. There's different ways, but everybody has this ability. Now, how do you tell if you're a medium? If, like, for me, if you see me out and about and everything like that, and you see me just standing there quiet, just staring off into space, it's usually because I have a spirit communicating with me. It don't happen very often, but there are times, even if I'm on the radio like now, and you hear me quiet for a couple seconds, it's usually because either I'm trying to write something and I can't write and think at the same time for some reason, and type, type and speak at the same time, because I'm usually thinking of what I'm writing. But yeah, no, you'll see me or hear me on the radio just quiet for a moment, because I'm the kind of person that likes to listen to people and spirits. And if you see me staring off to space, being quiet, it's usually because that spirit's communicating with me. So if you happen to do that and you can hear stuff in your mind or get like symbols and stuff like that, you're most likely a medium. If you can see the spirits and communicate with them, you can definitely see them and communicate with them, you're most likely got that third eye, that chakra open to where you are pretty much considered a medium. Like I said, everybody has this ability. It's just a matter of ways to unlock it. And that will be part of one of my blog posts when I do have that open. I will talk about seeing and communicate with spirits. I usually don't get much rest, Mike. That's why I like the late hours, because it's quiet and everything like that. And I go on very little sleep a lot of times. I go on like anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of sleep, and I can be up the rest of the time with no problem. As I get older, it's getting more difficult to do that, but there are times that I can do that. So yeah, if you have the ability to see and everything like that, spirits, and communicate with them, you do have that third eye and that chakra open to where you can be pretty much considered a medium. Let's see. Lisa says, what do you call when I say it, when my granddaughter is thinking it? It's weird. She says I was about to say that. Now, that is actually a form of telepathy. And not many people can do that. I don't have that ability. I do have a lot of abilities, but I do not have that ability. Yeah, I mean, dealing with spirits, yeah, I get you. Mike, but yeah, no, that is telepathy. And like I said, there's not many people that have that ability. Just like not many people are like me that are hyper empaths. There's empaths, but people like me, I'm a hyper empath. And what is a hyper empath? I can read people. I could go up to anybody and just look at them and read them and tell all about them. I have that ability. I have the ability to see and communicate with spirits. Everything like that. I have the ability. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudience. Stuff like that. So, if you want to know what a hyper empath is, or even a empath, like I said, do the research, check it out, look at it. Phone lines are still open. We got 7 minutes left in the show, and about 2 minutes. I got time for one call. If you want to call into the show, share your story, experience, and everything like that, call in and everything like that. I'll be glad to take one more call before the show ends, because I do have to leave a little bit of time to talk about what's coming up for next week on the show. So if you want to call into the show, phone lines are open. Numbers to call in are Paranormal Phil by Skype. Just go to Skype and in the search bar type in Paranormal Phil. And you should see the Talk of the Night symbol up on the Skype. That's me. Or if you do not have Skype, call into the show at 951-223-5055. Once again, phone lines are going to be open for about another minute or two. So if you want to get in on a call and share your stories, experiences, and everything like that, feel free to do so. So I'm going to bring up the show's website because I want to go again. For those that tuned in late to the show, I want to mention what we got coming up for next week. And I'm actually going to bring up the story of the day and this day in history, because that is up on the show's website. Now, this day in history doesn't necessarily have to be paranormal, like this one isn't. Alright, so we got 5 minutes left in the show. Since I'm not gonna, doesn't look like I'm gonna get any more calls for tonight. Like I said, tell your friends about the thing. Have them tune in. Tell them to listen. Don't just. I appreciate the shares and everything like that, but tell your friends. Tune in to the show and have them call in, because, like I said, Friday nights is your chance, the listener's chance, to call in to the show. So what we got coming up for next week, on Monday night, we're going to be joined by Cheryl M. as we talk about eliminating toxins and feeling good again. We're going to get into ways to eliminate toxins from your body so you can live a happier and healthier life. And then, of course, the second hour, we're going to open up to the listeners to call in and ask Cheryl any questions that they might have about eliminating these toxins from our life. Tuesday night, we're going to be talking about aliens and UFOs, which we did tonight a little bit. But we're going to get really into the UFO and alien things. Nothing paranormal or nothing ghostly about that show. And like I said, I'm going to bring up, I was supposed to have my guest Chad Meek on the show, but something came up. He's real busy with trying to get his movie Giant Rock the movie out. So I got to update the website because I still got him listed as coming on the show. I'm not going to have him on the show, so I got to update that. I just found out that he can't make it today. That he can't make Tuesday's show, so that's fine. Like I said, I rescheduled him for March 12th. Wednesday night, we're going to be talking with Sharon Osbourne. No, she is not related to Ozzy Osbourne. But she is been in the civilian and military space program with NASA. And we're going to talk about her career in the space program. We're going to talk about a tiny bit about the shuttle programs, the shuttles that exploded and everything like that. And just because we're only going to talk a little bit, because she had a friend while she was in the space program that was on the shuttle Columbia. So we're not going to get into that too much. And then, of course, most of it, the show is going to be about her book series Division 1, The Urban Legend of MIB. And then, like I said, next Friday night, more of your phone calls for Open Line Friday nights here on Talking the Night. We got 2 minutes left in the show. I want to thank everybody for listening. But I want to go over the story of the day. Of course, you probably heard on the news that nuclear concerns push doomsday clock closer to midnight. We're 2 minutes to midnight according to the doomsday clock. And I don't think anybody could ever tell when that doomsday is going to actually hit. So the whole clock thing, I don't know how they came up with it or how they adjusted, because I think a lot of it has to go off of I lost my train of thought. Like stuff going on in the world with North Korea and stuff like that. And then, of course, for this day in history, this day in history, back in 1970, this day in 1979, The Dukes of Hazzard premiered on TV. One of my favorite shows. growing up. And of course, I'm a kid of the 70s, so we're at 11 o'clock. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Lisa. All the music is copyright-free music. Nothing that is copywritten, so it gives those people that got these songs out there that are not copywritten a platform to get their music heard. So if you got music, if you're an artist and want to contribute to the show, contact me at talkingthenight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page, and I'll be glad to play your music. So once again, thank you again, and until Monday night when we're going to get into eliminating toxins from our lives, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.